Just sit right back and you'll hear a tale. A tale of Mamushka Cecilia Lebkowski and her husband, who had a son named Richard. And on his wedding day, he married a woman named Cecilia as well. Richard had a son named Richard. Richard was a troubled man whose wife always stayed back behind, even from the beginning on their wedding day. In Lebkowski, Russian. So, continuing on. Richard so loved his wife, but Richard was troubled. Richard was a very heavy drinker. And Cecilia, a young, beautiful woman, my grandmother, whose sister Helen was raised very Catholic and very much in the ways that you always stay with your husband till death did us part. Dear grandmother. Moving on. So Richard had two sons, Richard Jr. Richard Jr. inherited so much from his father. He inherited looks, he inherited personality and favor versus his brother Kenneth, Uncle Kenny. Richard was a very troubled man from the beginning and quickly grew into alcoholism as well, until his death in 1972. And a mother who was a devout Catholic from Russian and Polish descent grieved to her own death on that death of a son. That son had several sons with Etta May Clark. Etta May, as a child, was always troubled. She was given up with all her sisters and brothers and sent to a children's home by alcoholic parents who didn't want to be parents. And those parents so hurt her, and she never got over that, though she was a young and beautiful woman, when she met Richard Warner II. Richard Warner II, my father, and Etta May Clark had many years together while Richard was in the Navy. Stationed in Jacksonville, Florida, he told this woman that if she didn't leave with her two sons and her pregnant self, the third one being me, that when he arrived back from being deployed, they would no longer exist on this planet. And she ran to her family in upstate New York, where she gave birth to a son, Wade W. Warner. Bare butt from the beginning, this troubled boy always felt abandoned, always felt second class, because of many reasons, but one of which was a father had never seen, even at birth, in person, the son. But he has since built so much more of himself than what his father and his parents' legacy was. Though he loves his parents, he sees them for who they are, and that they did everything possible within their means, and that long line lineage, both Catholic, Dutch, Russian, Italian, and French, is where he comes from. He's very much aware of who he is and who he's not. And Grandma Helen, that sweet angel who never got past her own troubles, was such an instrumental piece to this understanding of where this man came from, this man Wade Warner, and her family, her oldest son, and her youngest son, Kenny, as he grew up, wouldn't listen to his mother and the troubles. So as he grew up and died early, along with a long lineage of dying early, this one is not going to. He's broken the habit and the genetics of his family. And he loves you very much. But stay tuned next week in our new episode of Dun Da Da Da, My History. This is your life with the gay uncle. Scandalous for the 60s and 70s. Yet a dapper dresser from the very beginning. And always within the fashion of the time. And always with a boy on his arm, even at the younger age. So, he so loved my mother that he took her to the airport to be with the husband who would beat her. Though he knew what was going on, he could do nothing about it. This gay uncle, dapper from the very beginning, was my Uncle Kenny. I do hope all of this beautiful story of where I come from, helps you see a little bit of me. Because I want you to. And I love you.